Hi, it's Professor Hastings here, and today I'm going to do a bit of a presentation on design drawing, using drawing as a way to create, to think, to research through problem solving. So I'm going to walk through the processes, purposes, and practices of design drawing. And by design, I mean graphic design, interactive design, UI, UX, service design, those kinds of design. So the first question is, what is drawing and design? And when most people hear the word drawing, they imagine in their mind a tightly rendered image of an object, a landscape, a portrait, something that is almost photographically rendered. That's what they imagine in their mind. So they equate rendering, being true to photographic image, as drawing. And drawing in the service of design is not that. It is not observational drawing practices in the way that we think of drawing classes, traditional drawing classes. It is actually drawing in the service of the ideation processes, coming up with ideas and thinking through ideas and ideating visually, thinking visually. So there are several basic purposes for design drawing, and I'm going to be showing you a bunch of different design sketches as I'm going through all of the reasoning behind design drawing, and I'm going to have links to all of the fabulous designers that have shared their images with me. So the basic purposes of design drawing can be summarized as generating ideas, visualizing ideas, documenting the process, collaborating, and analyzing. So I've broken this down into three main practices. And I've also got some images of design drawing workshops and classes that I teach. So in the design thinking process, the drawing actually takes place in a bunch of different of the parts of the process. So it can be sketching during observation, sketching during research, definitely via ideation, especially if it's something that we are producing that's a product. Prototyping, testing, sketching, marking things up. It can be any part of the design thinking process. So you can see that a lot of the sketches that I'm showing you, some are very tightly and carefully rendered. Some are really fast ideas grabbed onto the page. There's no one right way of sketching and designing, and everybody's looks different. But let's start with thinking of and through ideas. So the three main practices that I'm going to be going over are thinking of and through ideas, thinking to improve ideas, and thinking about ideas with others. So really focusing on the ideation part of the design thinking and design process. So in thinking of and through ideas, this is generally solo, but not necessarily. This includes visualizing and recording ideas to externalize and convey the process of thinking, basically making our thinking visual. The goal for this kind of drawing is idea generation and exploration. The best approach is to start with deep research, then a free form brainstorming of ideas on paper. And you are pursuing quantity, not quality. Quantity to reach quality in the end. But this stage of the process often happens in a sketchbook that is kept for the purpose of generating ideas. And many, many, many designers keep sketchbooks. I'm creating another video on designer sketchbooks, so keep an eye out on that. So the second purpose is thinking to improve ideas. So once the flow of ideas begins to form on the page, the process of analysis, comparison, iteration, elaboration, reflection, and development can begin. And you can see this beautifully in some of the logo development sketchbooks that we see throughout these slides. Sometimes the generation and analysis occurs simultaneously, and sometimes it's successive, meaning generation, then analysis. Reflection on drawing reveals relationships, strengths, and weaknesses that allow for refinement, reduction, and reiteration. So fine-tuning and improvement throughout. In volume, the drawings can create a dialogue between ideas and aid in the selection of the best ideas. So seeing 36 logos on a page that you've sketched, it's easy to compare and contrast and figure out which ones are the best. At this stage, the drawing refinement process involves cleaning up and organizing the ideas in order to present and share them with others, either team members we're collaborating with or clients or whatever project we're working on. Now the third, and I'm sorry I'm in the way here, my image is in the way here, this is thinking about ideas with others. So using drawing as a communication tool. Design drawings are often created for the purpose of collaboration, communication, and conversation. They're used to explain our ideas to others and to engage in a discussion around the project or problem. Through their ephemeral nature, design drawings convey that an idea is in process. It's not complete. And this invites reflection, responses, criticisms, and alternatives. So in the client presentation or team collaboration, if things are too finished, people have a completely different view of it, and it becomes less of a generative process of communication and more of a fine-tuning process of communication. And at this stage of the game, you don't want people to be zooming in on tweaky things. You want to be having really open general discussions. So at the collaborative stage, additional drawing resulting from the conversations is often superimposed on the presented drawings. Depending on the outcome of this collaboration, the designer may return to stage 1 or stage 2, or move forward to the execution of prototypes. So in this case, I love this. Joe Lamb's work is absolutely beautiful, and you can see that this is from about 10 years ago. But it is a perfect example of design drawings in which there are layers of dialogue and conversation happening about this project. So I really love this example. And here are some more ideation drawings. These, again, are loose and rough in a sketchbook. It's that thinking through drawing. Now, a lot of people say, why use pencil and paper, or tablet and stylus, if you can comp or sketch right in software. But there are many advantages to having a pencil and paper practice. One, it's fast. You don't need to boot up. You can carry your sketchbook with you and capture something anywhere. It's abundant. You don't have to limit yourself to a certain number of explorations. You can just scribble page after page after page. It's disposable. It's very low stakes. You know, if you invest some time in pencil and paper, when you discard your ideas, you know, there's less involvement, less attachment to those ideas. It's generative. It's really about the process and not about the final product. It's also friendly. And this goes back to what I was saying before about the communication through drawing. Friendliness means that people feel comfortable chiming in and say, oh, it's not a finished thing, it's in progress. I'm going to give my input in on this. So here's some more examples of some quick and dirty mobile UI sketches. Here's some more images from my design drawing workshops. And in this process, so you don't need to have, you know, hours and years of observational drawing classes or experience. You can really pick this up quickly. And there are certain things, these are the key things I've identified as being important in this process of learning to read design drawings and learning to make design drawings. One of those is we have a symbolic language in design drawing, what an image means, what type looks like, different interface formats, those sorts of things. You can pick that language up really quickly. Research, that is the same as any other design phase. You want to research visually what others have done, do a competitive analysis, have some images in your data bank, your mental data bank, before you start sketching. Then the actual components are very simple. You've got shape, lines, rectangles, circles. You've got structure. These are grids and systems for laying out specific kinds of products or whatever it is that you're working on. There's type that is generally involved, especially in visual design. Symbols, these are, you know, different icons that stand in for metaphors. The one that jumps out in my mind is like the envelope indicating mail or email. And you've got dimensions. Sometimes three-dimensional effects in the sketching are helpful. I mean, obviously, if it's a physical three-dimensional product, but also sometimes too in graphics or visual design, we want to convey the illusion of depth or volume. So those are the key practices. And as you can see, this student is practicing website wireframes and grid structures. Here's another sketch ideation sketchbook for a mobile application. And these are the fabulous designers who agreed to let me use their work in this presentation. And again, I'm going to have links below this video so that you can take a look at their amazing work. And just to give you a few other shots of what these designers' sketchbooks and other design drawings look like. We've got Mike at Creative Mints. He does these really, really beautiful dimensional logos and icons. This is more logo sketching, Bjorn Akselsen, David Airy. You probably or maybe know of his book, Logo Design Love. Amazing designer, amazing logo designer. Again, Joe Lamb. Check out his website. Awesome, amazing work. More Joe Lamb UI. And then finally, Mike Rohde So he is the famous author of the sketchbook, or the Sketchnote Handbook. So if you're familiar with the Sketchnote Handbook, he is also an amazing designer. And if you haven't heard of the Sketchnote Handbook, you're going to want to pick that up. So that is a quick argument for design drawing. I'm a drawing evangelist. I'm totally into thinking through drawing, and I hope that you got something out of this. Please look at the links below and pick up a sketchbook and a pencil and start getting all of those ideas on paper.